Because there's so many people that are like, I want to be a thing with you, but I don't want to be in a relationship, even though there's no difference except the word.
I think what a commitment means is you're verbally expressing your vulnerability with someone, aka a relationship. So it's much scarier, especially if people have been hurt before.
Yeah, definitely.
Trying and kind of putting yourself out there is where people get hurt.
Yeah,
and I think that's why
scary.
It's scary, exactly. And that's when, we gather these wounds of trauma, is when we try in a relationship, when we try in life and fail.
Yeah, and you get shot down.
Understanding that like you are enough.
Yeah.
Like pretty much no matter what. Yeah. You in yourself are enough. You're complete.
Yeah.
You are whole without anything else.
Yeah.
And like it's really hard to realize that or like come to that conclusion. And I think some people take like lives to really like accept who they are.
Like I did delete Instagram for a while.
Yeah.
And I did, like, I felt better, and I was like, I wasn't really caring.
Yeah.
And then, like, the reason I got it back was because I wanted, like I told you, like, I wanted to start using it in the right way. But using it in the wrong way is doing it in a way that puts yourself down.
Yeah.
Like, posting stuff where it's like, I need this gratification, and I need it now.
Yeah.
Or else, if I don't get X amount of likes, I'm gonna be like, feel like shit about myself.
Yeah.
Or I go online and I see what other people are posting, and I'm judging myself off of that.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that's a lot of. It definitely happens with guys, but girls especially. Yeah. They'll see all these models and all these girls posting all these things, and it's like, why don't I look like that? We've all held shit in. You need to talk. You need to get stuff out, because when you're dealing stuff by yourself, when you're dealing with something, you always need to do the hard work, but you can still have people help you.
Yeah.
You can still have support, and that you need that to get through stuff.
Hey guys, welcome to another Beneath the Surface podcast episode. We got two of some of my closest pals here. We got Connor Mack, and we got Keiran Sass.
Hello.
They have both been on the podcast before, but I said, why not have them both on at the same time?
Yeah.
So we were just talking about, we were going to start with, you said it was kind of like labeling and like relationships and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, why don't you start us off?
Yeah, and kind of how there's a lot of technicalities and terms that we kind of use to make ourselves feel better about a situation, like in terms of cheating, is, what you're defined as, what if you're in a relationship or not, because there's so many people that are like, I want to be a thing with you, but I don't want to be in a relationship, even though there's no difference except the word. Literally the only difference is the word.
A commitment. It's like relationship feels like you have to be loyal, and people just want to have fun.
Yeah.
Experience.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, it's interesting. I think, like one of the biggest reasons people do that is because I think what a commitment means is you're verbally expressing your vulnerability with someone, aka a relationship. So it's much scarier, especially if people have been hurt before.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, I think that's why a lot of like kids, like college age, or really anyone, is kind of holds back on like, oh, let's just be a thing, rather than be in a relationship, because that has to, that like in theory, is like committing to someone on many different levels, and I think it's a fear-based law.
Yeah, definitely is fear-based, and it's also the fact that I feel like it's like you don't have to feel as bad if you do something wrong, because you feel like you're not hurting the person as much, but it just should come down to you should feel bad if you hurt someone. Yeah. If you do something, like when you do something wrong.
It's like a staple of being a good person.
Knowing
when you do something.
It's like that still small voice we kind of all have when it's like, okay.
Being able to notice that like you fucked up.
Yeah, you try to push it down. And like you just try to push it down, and you don't want to listen to it, and that just hurts you more, honestly, instead of just being able to accept it.
Yeah.
Because that's you holding on to something as well. Because you don't want to, like, no one wants to be like, I fucked up, like, I did something wrong. You don't want that. You don't want that feeling. So instead you push it down and you try to ignore the fact, which just isn't healthy. And it's also because you don't want to be viewed as a person that, you also don't want someone to, like, hate you or whatever. Like, and if you hurt someone, they're going to have different feelings towards you, and you don't want that.
Yeah, it's like we're scared of the short-term consequence, but in all actuality, dealing with these actual things and taking them head on, it might definitely cause some short-term
like relief, maybe,
but it's like
long term.
It's like long term is much better to, like, take those things on, and, like, remember that, like, when we mess up, we taking responsibility for it is what kind of lifts that weight, rather than waiting to lift that weight months, years, or decades even ahead of time.
Because that goes with a lot of different things. Like, people, if you're feeling sad, it's like you try to make yourself feel, like, more sad, like, when you are sad, instead of making the necessary steps to make you feel sad. Yeah, because it's like it's easier to just be sad instead of trying to actively do something to make yourself feel better. Yeah, it's like the short term. Again, it's like, I'm going to do what's ever easiest, so I'm just going to do it the short term instead of thinking about the long term.
I think that's just a lot of, like, people hate, or, like, change is difficult and requires effort. We were talking about it earlier. Mm-hmm. Just, like, to change what you're doing actually requires you to think a little bit, like, or think in a way that you don't usually, because people get into routine. But
routine is one of those things that it's pretty neutral, but then it depends on the routine and how it functions in your life. Like, if you have a routine that is holding you back, keeping you in a certain mental state, or, not letting you, because existence is change. Everything is constantly changing, and when we see like this change and welcome it rather than run away from the fact that things are always changing. That's the thing. It's like it literally it's just like the universal truth is that everything's changing. It doesn't exist. Exactly. In the short term, but then in the long term that can be detrimental.
Yeah, that's even like the whole, like, plastic problem and, like, climate change in general. Like, a lot of people, like, are aware of things end up in the ocean, but, like, buy plastic bottles and be like, this is gonna kill a bird, and then, like, throw it away. And, like, it's just easier to continue. Like, people even recognize that what they're doing is wrong. It's just, how do you change it? Like, it's you have to do something, and people want to be passive.
Yeah, look at cigarettes too. Like, I mean, it's just a fact now that everyone knows it causes cancer.
It's just bad.
But, like, still a ton of people smoke cigarettes. It's still a booming industry.
So a lot of people just don't care though. But that's, like, for people that are, like, really sad. They don't care about their living. Yeah, and I think not caring about, like, one's health is, like,
it's like a depression,
like, defense mechanism, because if you don't care, nothing can like, you don't feel as if anything can hurt you, because trying and kind of putting yourself out there is where people get hurt. And I think that's, like, why scary. It's scary. Exactly. And that's when we gather these wounds of trauma, is when we try in a relationship, when we try in life and fail.
And you get shot down. But that's how you.
It hurts.
That's just how you learn, and, like, that's how you got to go about life. Because if you just feel stuck and you don't do anything about it, you feel safe, but you're just hurting yourself in the long run, because you're not learning at all. Like, if you put yourself in a situation where it doesn't go good, it sucks that it didn't go good, but you're learning from it, and you're taking stuff. You're taking something from it. And that's what you have to do, like, throughout life, and to find what you want to really do, what you want to be with, who you want to be with. That's like that is like one of the worst feelings ever, is trying, like, really putting your heart into something. And just seeing it completely fail. I talked about that with the guy who I talked about him before, but the YouTube guy.
JT is All Business the other day. He talked about how, like, his podcast, like, he invested like $25,000 into, like, one app, and he lost it all because they closed the app. They literally were like, oh, we're not releasing this app anymore.
Really?
He was able to get an early copy because he's a creator.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, wait, no, after you did 25 grand in this app, we're just canceling the app. So like
life can screw you over.
Yeah, it's like just knowing that part of life is the chaos that is with it, and it's arguably half, if not more, of what life is.
Life can be failure.
Yeah.
Just learning from that failure.
Yeah, and just kind of...
It never ends.
Yeah, yeah. And
That's the frightening part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just never going to stop.
Yeah, it never stops. But what can stop is how we transcend that suffering.
Yeah.
And how we look at our failures and how... Because we can look at our failures, like you were saying, Keiran, like, and wallow in it. But we can also make the decision to use these things as stepping stones to create something that's even brighter.
Yeah, and it's like that stuff takes time and it takes energy. It takes like just a lot of force to be able
real
to
effort.
You need effort to do it, and it's easy to just give up on it. Like if you go through a really bad trauma, like losing a parent, you can still recover and you can still gain from it, and you can kind of I haven't had that, but you can still get something
closure.
From it, closure, and but it takes time, and you can't expect it right away.
Yeah.
That's the strangest aspect that, like, a lot of times, like, people have, like, just a bad experience.
Yeah.
Just, like, it's nothing good really came from it. It's just bad. Like, I can think of, like, once I was in the woods, I got attacked by bees.
Yeah.
It was just bad.
Just shit happens.
Like, it just, and I ran, it hurt, it wasn't great. But afterwards, people tend to, like appreciate it.
Yeah.
And like even though it was just bad, but like you learn from it. Like you can always take something from it, even though nothing good came of it, and it's probably better if it didn't happen in the first place. Yeah. There's still something you can gain.
Exactly.
As long as like it's in the past. Like while it's happening, or I mean, it's a super broad statement, but
yeah, it's like even something that like trivial is like, just stubbing your toe. Like even stuff like that. It's like we appreciate things when, like, that's why taking cold showers combats depression.
Yeah, seriously.
Is because, like, it's painful.
Yeah.
And then you get out of this experience and you feel oddly good.
Yeah.
Even though what you're feeling would be that neutral.
Yeah.
But the neutral level
seems a little better.
Seems better because you were in this state of pain.
Yeah.
So it's interesting how we can, like, we really see the value in something a lot of time when it's either gone or like it's gonna go away.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's a huge deal, because I think when people realize that, like, that truth, and it takes like forever, you know, just like remembering that, like, everything, the impermanence in everything, and seeing the impermanence in our day to day, and like the growth of like the three of us. Like we've been friends for like basically a decade. and it's really been a decade.
Yeah, we gotta break up. Took all my young man years. Spread my wings.
Fly. It's just wild because we're literally adults now. You know, we're in our 20s.
We met in 5th grade and 6th grade.
Yeah, and even going, like, we were in the same middle school, but then we all literally went to separate high schools.
Yeah, and still just stayed.
Like, I think about that sometimes.
Easy.
Yeah.
Give me a
Too easy.
Child's play.
Relationships.
Killing it.
No, but it's crazy because, like, we went to that cafe, back to that cafe that one time, and the guy was like,
guy remembered us.
It's like, you guys are still hanging out?
Yeah.
Like, that's what he said. He's like, what?
It's like my catchphrase, basically.
Yeah, and the value in, like, seeing, like, I think it's important, and I think we've done this, is, like, seeing how things are not always going to stay the same.
Yeah,
we're not always,
it's not how it works.
We're going to have to, like, I mean, in the long run, like, we're all going to die. But then before that, it's like, well, one of us could move to China. And one of us, but then it's like not taking that for granted.
Yeah.
This like moment that we have.
Exactly. Because change is scary, but it's awesome as well.
Yeah.
And, like, it really, just accepting that it's a thing and not being fearful that it's a thing.
Yeah.
Well, just the thought of like the past is so sad. Like the thought of the days gone, or like the periods of time which can never be again. It's just like sad. It's like it's sad to think that the moment you're in now will eventually be there, and that's why people don't really like change a lot. Is because the past is gone and like you can remember it, but then like your memories start to fade, and then it's like, did it ever happen? And then, like, you see a picture and you're like, oh, it did happen. But change allows things to die a little bit, which is kind of sad.
Yeah, it's
necessary.
Yeah, exactly. It's sad but necessary, and like that's like the idea of keeping your, like, appreciating your memories of the past, appreciating our memories, appreciating that they're there, but then remembering like it's like quote from The Office. It's like, I wish we could know we're in the good old days before we've actually left them. It's like, we are in the good old days.
Yeah, seriously.
We are. The only difference is that those good old days that we had in middle school, or whichever, it's like that was just now it's then.
Yeah.
That's the only difference.
Yeah.
So now, but we got now.
Yeah.
And like,
we're always in that was in the now.
Yeah.
We're always in the now.
Exactly.
There's no future, there's no past. It's literally just But I was listening, it was Eckhart Tolle.
Yeah.
Listen to him.
I'll
Sick
put
dude.
a link.
Swipe up.
But he literally
Swipe up to listen.
But he was saying it was like a part of the depression of life is having some of the experiences you did have when you were a kid.
Yeah. Because
you're so shielded,
you
don't understand. Like when my mom was going through cancer, like she's had it 3 times. The first time I was in 3rd grade, and I remember I was like, we did like Darcy, our teacher, had us all do like a prayer thing in school, and I was sitting there. I was like, why are we doing this? Like, she's gonna be fine. Like I didn't understand the extent. I didn't really understand.
Yeah.
And it's the fact that I wasn't old enough to understand. And it's like, when you look back on that, it's like, I want that feeling back of not knowing how fucked up the world is. Like when you're young, you don't understand. Yeah, exactly. And it's like, that's part of the depression of life, is knowing that you used to feel this way.
Yeah.
And it just sucks. You have to kind of accept it and accept that that's not how it is.
Yeah, like at some point in life, you have to partake in the forbidden fruit in some sense. Like you have to know that there's good and evil.
Yeah.
Well, some kids are like thrust into that. I think we're speaking from like a place of privilege.
We're lucky.
There's a lot of kids that are just like into the fire, like
seriously.
Of course,
Like, to see death all around them. Instantly.
There was Connor, was it you who I told about that woman from North Korea? Was that, did I tell you about that?
I kind of remember it.
Okay, because I don't think I wasn't sure. Okay,
we talked about it briefly.
We did. Okay, yeah. It reminds me of, there's this woman who did a TED Talk, and she lived in North Korea, and she was saying how like Kim Jong-un is literally looked at as a god, and like in the most genuine sense, like they were all convinced and are convinced that he can hear your every thought. So even if you think about Kim Jong-un in a slightly negative way, they punish themselves. And she was like, and she mentioned that she had to learn compassion. She remembered walking in the streets and seeing just people die around her, and she just didn't even faze her. She was like, she was just born into this hate and fear, and that was her normal, exactly. And it's like, and then when she came to America, she learned love and compassion. But it's wild how like these things can affect us, and how much of how we act and who we are is programmed by
like how you grew up.
How you grew up.
Because like literally, like we're all more like have liberal views. But the way like everyone else thinks, even though it's different, they think that way for a reason. I think my way for a reason. Everyone grows up differently. And the way every thought that I have isn't right. I might have some, but they're not all right. Like the way I think isn't completely okay, and it's not all right. Everyone has different views. Everyone has different points that they can make. But it's just, there's so many people that are like, I'm right and you're wrong.
Yeah.
Everything I think is true. Everything that you think that isn't the way I think is wrong. And
So
they're not
starts.
open. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's just over disagreements.
Yeah, it's such
like,
nonsense.
yeah,
and then
like,
we lose trillion, over the
a lot of lives.
Yeah, like millions of lives.
It's
It's crazy how things like that. That's the kind of mindset. That's the kind of Hitler/Stalin mindset. It's like I'm right, you're wrong. We need to cleanse this world of these people, or we need to, that's the mindset, and we all have that in us.
Yeah.
We all have the capability to think in that way and to choose to either follow that, or to see it fully, but know that it's a toxic way to live. It's like you should rather
like living with hate. That's literally what you're doing, is living with hate.
I think it has a lot to do with ego. Like, people don't want to admit when they're wrong, so they hold on to bad ideas.
Yeah.
And, I don't know, it's just tough to, like what we were saying, like, really feel something is correct with, like, who you are and, like very strongly feel about it and be willing to admit that it's wrong. Or, like, admit that, like, someone else that you've been, like, fighting against for so long, you, like, can kind of see that it's wrong, but then people like shut it away and they're like, no, it's not. Like, there has to be some kind of way, or like a way around the truth. But
and it's literally like, if I'm wrong and I know I'm wrong, and I was like, all right, fine, I'm wrong.
Yeah.
It's like, fucking dick. I'm so pissed about it.
Yeah, totally. Because if being wrong is humbling, and it hurts.
Yeah, like, I don't want to be
it's
wrong.
Like, no one wants to be wrong. But then when I was I've been thinking about the idea of how a lot of this kind of ego, like we were talking about, and a lot of this pain that is very human to feel. I've been thinking about how, like, a lot of suffering in the world comes from that personal ego pain, but also the failure to feel, and also emphasis on when we are hit with when we're hit with the self-consciousness, when we're like 6, or like someone steals our ball and we're like, that's my ball, like, type thing, and we're like, or someone insults your t-shirt, and you're like, oh, I'm self-conscious. It's like when you're a kid, like, that shit hurts. And like, and I think that's when suffering enters the soul. Or the possibility of suffering is when we're self-conscious about something and then act on that self-consciousness.
Because the guy I've been listening to, Eckhart Tolle, he talks about, like, the pain body and how it's kind of like a different entity from us. We play into the pain body. We let our mind is where all suffering starts. Their mind, like, I'd say like 95% of the time I'm thinking about something in the future. I'm thinking about something in the past. It's never being appreciative of what's happening right now. And it's literally just your mind screwing with you all the time. And making up these false things in your head that just are not true.
Dude, that's like the same thing. Oh, no.
I was just going to say a quote really fast out of Buddha. That want is the cause of all suffering. My mom says it all the time. It's the reason I know it. And like, the harder you think about that, the more it seems to be true that even like if you're in horrible agony and like you want the pain to stop and it's your brain creating that. Like, every kind of suffering that someone can experience is created from your brain wanting something.
And literally, like,
and losing that, or the idea of losing that, or someone challenging that.
Because it's kind of funny, but like, when I'm in the cold, and I'm like freezing, I'm like, oh fuck, I'm so cold, I want to be out of this. But there's been times where it's like, all right, I'm just gonna accept that I'm in the cold, and then I just like feel less cold. I just kind of like accept it. I'm like, all right.
It's like going to class. So just people walk by, you're just like sitting there. Not cold. Not cold. Not cold. Not cold. They're like, like 8 hours go by, you're just dead. But in your mind, not cold.
Icicles from your nose.
But it's all a mind thing. It's just a mind thing.
I did a similar thing when I was, I think when I was like 16.
I
went into the forest
Yeah.
And I just love going, I need to do that more now.
Yeah, definitely.
And I go to I went to it was in the middle of winter. And
Yeah.
the river was mostly ice.
Yeah.
There's this opening.
Did you hop in?
And I hopped in.
No.
I literally perished.
I died.
But I put my hand in the water.
Yeah.
And I was there for like 30 minutes. And I put it in, and then I put it out, and then I was thought about it more, and did what you did. I was like feeling everything. My mindset was everything just is.
Yeah.
And let's just feel this excruciatingly cold water.
Yeah.
With it just being.
Yeah.
Rather than, oh, this is painful.
Yeah.
So, and it did feel like it was a feeling. But not labeling that feeling took the power out of it, and it would have harmed my body totally. It was like, it was the same feeling, but it didn't it wasn't like as painful as what Connor said. It wasn't as painful.
Like you still feel like I was still.
Yeah.
Cold.
Oh yeah.
I wasn't like shivering. I was just like.
You're just like being about it. Like the once you give in, once you're like, this sucks.
Yeah. It sucks even more.
Yeah. As soon as you're just like, all right.
Yeah.
then it just kind of like happens, and you're like, well, this is happening.
And I remember you told me something a while. It was when you had that like office job.
Yeah.
And you just like hated it, but like you told me you're like I went into work and I was like, I'm gonna have a good day.
Yeah.
And like it's just like the mentality. It's like your mentality. Like if I go into work, if I go in the class, I'm just like, fuck. Like I do not want to be here right now. Like fuck everyone.
It's gonna
like,
be
fuck,
terrible.
Yeah, it's gonna suck.
Yeah.
And it's.
It completely your mindset.
Yeah.
It's
champion
like
mentality.
Mentally
winning. Mentally stronger. Mentally indestructible.
You heard it here first, folks.
Mentally unbeatable.
All of us are grandmasters, Zen Buddhist grandmasters.
My mind is constantly in nirvana. There's nothing.
There's no ego. My ego's dead. There's no ego. It's dead.
Woke culture.
No, but the mindset. Like, I liked what you said earlier, Connor. Like how the mind is a lot of the time the origin of most of our suffering.
Yeah.
Is because what happens in the mind is the only people we really judge are really ourselves.
Yeah.
Like we judge others when we're kind of in this extreme, not extreme, but in this next level self-consciousness.
Yeah.
Because if we're judging others in a toxic way, we're
it's
self-conscious about something. Yeah, and it's based on ourselves. But then what we're kind of as humans, at least that I found, we're kind of in this neutral. We're like our default is kind of this self-judgment kind of harmful way of thinking.
Yeah.
At least that's what has tackled me the most.
Yeah, definitely.
Is just not thinking I'm good enough.
Yeah.
And it just sucks.
It does suck.
It's like
once you realize that, I think that's a hump that a lot of people go through.
Yeah.
It's like thinking they're not good enough.
Exactly.
I think like a lot of people can relate to that.
Yeah.
But, like, not to say that it's like an easy thing to do, or like someone can even really explain how to do it. It's like something you have to do by yourself, but understanding that like you are enough, like pretty much no matter what, you in yourself are enough. Like you're correct. You're doing it right.
Yeah.
You can't do it wrong. You're complete.
Yeah.
You are whole without anything else.
Yeah.
And like it's really hard to realize that or like come to that conclusion. And I think some people take like lives to really like accept who they are.
Yeah.
But once you do
God knows
that,
I'm not there.
It's really
it's tough.
enlightened.
Yeah. It's man. It's like remembering that we are worthy and we have intrinsic value.
Yeah.
And just knowing that, like Connor and I were talking about earlier, about like going easier on ourselves.
Yeah.
And it kind of opens the door to so many different. It opens the door to everything.
Yeah.
Because if we're putting, it takes so much energy to like hate yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
it sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, hate is like a heavy load. Like if you're carrying any kind of resentment towards any human being, it's gonna like weigh you down a little bit. Like it isn't something that you can just carry.
Yeah.
You just
especially like the more you like people who tend to hold hate tend to continue doing it. So like they're just loading themselves up with hate.
Yeah.
And eventually like they're just not happy with themselves, or they explode in some way, or they're just like they're living an unhappy existence, or like an existence filled with more hate than the good stuff, even though they don't like hate.
Well, it's like look at the look at the Columbine killers. Like, this guy, he wrote in his journal, this is one of the things that interests me. I'm reading a book, 12 Rules for Life, that he references these guys, these killers. And in one of their journals, one of them wrote, like, the night before they killed all these kids, he wrote, he wrote, I'm probably going to botch this, but he wrote, it's interesting. When I'm in my human form, things seem much more pointless, and much more pointless, and something along the line of death seems much less scary. And it's like these things that, like, this mindset of like we are separate, because I think that's the biggest thing that a lot of these shooters feel the most is separate. They feel separate from everyone else, and I think separation.
It's like something's wrong with you.
You feel like you're alone.
Feeling alone and feeling and feeling separate. There's a big difference between being separate and feeling separate. Like, if you, because there are people that have no one. You know, it's just go to a like, if you want to see tragedy. Go to a freaking children's hospital. And see those kids and see those parents
just suffering.
It's really I think it boggles my mind the way that human beings can bounce back, like you said, after going through melancholy and feeling fully the loss, you know, of a kid or anything. But it's really crazy, the resilience of the human spirit. And it's also
you can break through
crazy anything. Exactly, you can break through absolutely anything.
And it's not like that feeling goes away, or it's not like that whatever happened goes away. It's still there. It's always going to be there, but you can still take from it, and you can still better yourself from those experiences. You can't expect it right away. You have to try, because a lot of people, they don't want to try, because especially like now, like everything's just handed to us.
Instant gratification.
Instant gratification. And like, you don't want to put in the work. You want someone to tell you, it's like, you're worthy, and then that just makes you feel better.
For a moment.
But it's just, that's not how it works. Like, people can push you along the path, but you have to do the work yourself.
You have to choose.
You have to choose. You have to choose, like, I'm going to do something about this. I'm going to change myself for the better.
It's
hard. It's very hard. That's okay. It's very hard. It's a difficult path to take, but especially if it's against society and or the culture. Like, if you're taking a path, you have to be really, you have to follow your heart. You know, as cliche as it is, you need to have that feeling inside of you. Go all in for that,
and accept that it's scary doing that. You're gonna feel fear. You're gonna be scared. But you shouldn't let that make the decision for you.
I was wondering if we could talk about the post you did. Because that was really intriguing, and really, I think it helped a lot of kids. You know, I think kids reading that, people reading that, I took a lot from it. You know, and but it's like not letting fear, kind of ties in, because it's like not letting the fear of change and the fear of, you know, because we post all these things on Instagram a lot of the time as a society of our you know, that seems seemingly perfect. My life is seemingly perfect.
You're not gonna like post something that makes you look bad. Like, post your things that you've done wrong.
Even if it's not the case.
Because even with that post, because like I did delete Instagram for a while. And I did, like, I felt better, and I was like, I wasn't really caring. And then, like, the reason I got it back was because I wanted, like I told you, like, I wanted to start using it in the right way. And so that's why I made that post. That's why I've only been, because I've been getting more into photography and whatever. Like, I'm not, like, amazing, but it's just fun, and I like showing off my stuff. So instead of putting something out there where I feel judged, I put something out there that I want. And with this post, like, I was definitely nervous, and I was like, what if people do start judging me? because it is just like this long ass thing putting myself out there and like what I think out there, and it's like, what if someone reads it and it's like, this fucking idiot.
Yeah, that vulnerability.
Yeah, vulnerability.
I mean, we got one of them here. We got a debate here, folks.
Connor Mack sucks.
Yeah,
Unfollow, unfriended, and
Connor's like, yeah, and I fully accept.
I appreciate it.
I am who I am. I'm an idiot and I'm proud.
I'm ugly and I'm proud.
Yeah, literally, it's
SpongeBob.
like getting over the fear of it and putting your real self out there. Because like so many people, and I did it all the time when I used social media in the wrong way. Like this is me trying to use it in the right way.
Yeah.
And it's like can help people maybe. And but using it in the wrong way is doing it in a way that puts yourself down.
Yeah.
Like posting stuff where it's like, I need this gratification and I need it now.
Yeah.
Or else if I don't get X amount of likes, I'm gonna be like feel like shit about myself.
Yeah.
Or just feeling like I'm constantly getting judged. Or I go online and I see what other people are posting and I'm judging myself off of that.
Yeah.
Like and I think that's a lot of. It definitely happens with guys, but girls especially.
Yeah.
They'll see all these models and all these girls posting all these things, and it's like, why don't I look like that?
Well, there's a lot more pressure put on girls just to look nice and like to maintain some kind of standard, because like just like how society is kind of constructed, men kind of like go after ladies and ladies kind of like stand and look pretty and wait for a man to come to them. I mean, like there is like discrepancies, of course, but men are seen as like the ones that like are the go-getters basically. And so it's
so then you have to look
pressure.
pretty for these men.
It's a lot of pressure to like look nice at all times, and if you're not looking nice, then like something's wrong, or like why aren't guys like following? Like I don't. I mean, I'm not a girl. I can't really like speak on that too much.
Yeah, no. There's still there's a lot that we can not be in the scenario, but we can understand it.
Yeah, like literally, they're constantly they feel like they're being judged, and it's like media and movies. Oh yeah, it's always like biggest tits, biggest ass. Yeah. When that's not how everyone feels. That's not what everyone wants, and it's like. If these girls feel like I need this, even though it's not the case, but it's the way everything's portrayed.
Yeah, it's completely.
And it's just sad.
It's completely monetized.
Yeah, it is, and it's like that happens with guys. Like I can't think of a thing, but it's like
with guys, it's just like muscles,
and it's like we have to keep everything in.
Yeah,
and it's like you're not allowed to share. You're not supposed to share if you're a man. And like so, like it goes both ways. Yeah, men don't cry.
Men suck up their tears.
Yeah. Exactly like that. They reversed it.
But like it does go both ways. But like from that, like with girls, it is.
Yeah, it's more aggressive with girls.
It definitely is.
Yeah,
and it's not
girls
fair.
Are also just like, I mean, blankets over a blanket statement. Like girls are just mean to each other. Yeah. Guys aren't really as mean to other guys, aside from like bullying cases. But I feel like that's even like
guys are more physically, grades. And then women, I feel
women just like, but women also like
verbal
hurt each other.
Yeah. And I think it kind of goes back to the competition.
Yeah,
it's like I got to bring her down because I don't feel good about myself. So if I do that, then maybe I'll be better.
Yeah, that's a very human one too.
Yeah, because I have like. Guys do that.
It's just like, hey, small fry.
Hip squish.
You're a shrimp.
You're a lunchman.
Swirly time.
You're for real.
Hey, small fry. No, it's true. It's and it all boils down to full circle self-consciousness.
Yeah,
we're self-conscious about our looks because it's monetized. Yeah. Because all these corporations, magazine labels, movies, TV are portraying what a beautiful woman should look like, or a attractive man should look like, and it's just like it's just false, it's just false.
It's screwing with people. It's sad, and it's messing with people's minds. Like it all goes back to the mind.
It's like we got to be these things that are literally impossible. If you look at these models, there's a million different filters, makeup, camera angles.
There's like edited things. Editing. So, like, her pelvis is smaller than like her head, and then it's like anatomically impossible.
So you got to remove ribs to like. It's like we are literally, being feared into trying to get to a place that's literally impossible.
Yeah,
it's impossible.
It's kind of how.
And then that's how these makeup things and clothing.
Yeah, clothing like makeup. It's like, oh, this person looks like that, so I gotta get it because I want to look like that to feel good about myself.
Yeah, it's like using athletes to like sell like this is lower, but like it's using athletes to sell like cereal or like shit like that. It's like
massive
bag,
and you go
like oh,
Lucky Charm. Like a funnel.
No, but it's it's similar philosophy. Yeah. That's how they pushed milk.
Yeah.
Is milk mustache, got milk. All these celebrities with the milk mustache, it's still happening. Yeah. You go to any public school, that's literally that's like mandated.
It was that so he can.
Yeah, and high school too. Yeah. And I'm sure colleges. Yeah. Even though colleges, hopefully kids are thinking more, by themselves, but...
You like to think.
Yeah.
You never been to college.
2 months. 2 months. And all I looked at was those milk mustache posters.
Fuck, I want that.
Give me that milk. Screw being...
Perpetual mustache. My body secretes milk just for my mustache.
Yeah, but anyway. It's pretty... just wild how all these fears are placed on top of us. Yeah. And we're just kind of...
We let it run our life.
Look at... I think there's a huge issue with... there's a reason why 95% of shooters are male. Yeah. There's a huge issue with male insecurity and finding meaning in life as a man. Because what it means to be a man is completely skewed.
Yeah, it's just not.
It's just right. It's just these things of like we said, like being big. Yeah. And kind
not
of
sharing.
Not sharing, not crying.
Yeah. What a man is supposed to be is like unwavering, stoic, like no emotion, very strong, the provider of the household. Yeah. Like brings in the dough basically, and that's like a lot of pressure to put, especially on like middle schoolers, where they're like not a man and they're not really a child either. They're kind of like in the middle ground, and it's just like so confusing as to what you're supposed to do or how you're supposed to feel.
And you're so moldable.
And because they're so young, like the like what you said, like what it means to be a man, like there's just nothing to go off of. I mean, I guess you have your dad, but I personally don't have much experience with that. But just like what a man is supposed to be is like a lost art.
Yeah, especially at that age. Yeah. It's like who do we look up to if we don't have and a lot of the times, look how many divorces are happening. Yeah. It's like a lot of the time the man of the house is out of the house. Yeah. And you have no male role model, and then we can turn to older brother types, other male father figures. Yeah. But then a lot of time it really opens us up to the possibility of being a victim of a hate group, or look at like there was this guy Andrew was talking about, Andrew Yang. And he was talking about how he met up with this guy who was part of a hate cult basically. I think they hated black people. I'm pretty sure. And he was like 12 when he joined the group, and they lured him in. But then what he said was he's like, hey, anyone could have. He was so moldable at that time. Yeah. A coach could have came up to him and be like, hey, come play basketball. That would have been his outlet. Yeah, but it happened to be a hate group. Yeah. And they were like, okay, this is my family now.
Yeah, and this is how you're going to think, is this is, you're very impersonable. I don't know if that's the word, but it's just you...
Impressionable, yeah.
I think it's really, really important for young boys especially to have a role model that isn't their father to guide them a little bit. A lot of times, I think it does fall what you said with sports. A lot of times, coaches take a lot of boys under their wing and kind of coach them a little bit. Yeah. But I think it's really important to have a role model that isn't in your family but also genuinely cares about you.
Yeah. Both is very, very integral. Yeah. Very important.
And something that was kind of interesting about the shooters, because I remember, I had dinner at my uncle's the other night, and we were all talking, my parents were there, and the topic came up was like, did they, when they were in high school, did they have these drills where it's like there's someone on the premise and they have a gun, and it just was, they had fire drills, but like in high school, like I'm sure you guys remember, we'd have these drills where it's like everyone get in the corner, put the shades down, lock the door, everyone's silent, because it's like you have to prepare for this.
Yeah, I remember that.
And it wasn't a thing back then.
Yeah.
And now it is.
Yeah.
And I feel like it kind of ties into social media.
Yeah.
And just kids being so hard on themselves and just like putting themselves down constantly. And also, because I feel like the social media aspect, it's like if you don't have followers, it's like, do you have friends? Like, It's like I feel like that goes in a lot of people's minds. If you're not getting the likes, like, and it just puts yourself more down, makes you feel more lonely.
Yeah.
And that's when because like these kids are not evil.
No.
They're the way they are for a reason.
They're
it's
literally
really sad.
the most hurting out of all of us.
Yeah, it's really sad that it comes to that.
Yeah.
And it's real. It's not their fault. It's like it sucks that it comes to that. It sucks to get to the point where they feel like they need to just go harm others and then kill themselves.
Yeah.
It's just really
it's
sad.
Like that's like the darkest pit you can get into.
Yeah.
It's like that guy. I think I told you guys about this, but that guy who was almost a school shooter.
Yeah.
And he, and he had terrible parents. He had no one.
Yeah.
And it's that separation that gets people to shoot up schools.
Yeah, definitely.
It's feeling separate from everyone and everything in your life.
Yeah.
And feeling like you're completely and utterly alone.
Like you just need one person to reach out.
Yeah, and that's what happened with the guy. He had one person who didn't give up on him.
Because like we've all held shit in, and it sucks. You want to talk. Like I'm awful with that. Like if I want to talk about something, I'll like vaguely mention it, and then I'll like want that person to
bring it up,
just like literally like force me to talk about it, because like I'm not good at talking about stuff, and I need someone to force it out of me. And I think a lot of that comes with being a guy and just how the way I thought when I grew up and like the experiences I had, and something I'm trying to work on.
Yeah.
But you need to talk, you need to get stuff out, because when you're dealing stuff by yourself, when you're dealing with something, you always need to do the hard work, but you can still have people help you.
Yeah.
You can still have support, and that you need that to get through stuff.
We do. It's love is medicine.
Yeah.
And that's when the people don't decide to shoot up schools. It's like you just need one guy. What he said that he's like, that one person, that one friend of mine, he didn't beg me to see therapy or treat me. He treated him like a human being.
Yeah.
He said they literally watched movies together.
Yeah.
And he was in the same room as someone who was automatically just like saying he has value.
Yeah. And it's like you don't.
That's all we want.
Like if we're told there's something wrong with us, if we're told we're crazy, it's like you need help. I don't want someone to tell me you need help. I want.
You need help.
Yeah. It's like
it's like
there's something wrong with you.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Came out of nowhere.
Cameras like.
It's just whenever I hear those words. You need help. Sorry, you can continue.
No, it's all good.
You're good.
No, it's all good. Yeah, it's like we just want to be accepted.
Yeah.
We just want to be loved.
Accepted. Yeah. And social media definitely makes it 10 times worse, the feeling of not being accepted.
Yeah, I think social media also like allows kids a way to look at stuff that isn't for kids.
Yeah.
And, like I think like a lot of like really young children today are like looking at like when our parents were growing up, I mean the internet wasn't existing, so like the only ways kids would be able to find like really inappropriate stuff is like through like magazines and like TV shows, but like they couldn't like do it from their room in secrecy. And like now kids are looking at like explicit things all the time from like an age of like 10. And like
because they can just type it in.
Yeah, you like look at a 13-year-old, she looks like she's 25, and it's like what are you watching? Who is giving you this information? You should be a 13-year-old.
It's like sad that a 13-year-old feels like they need to do that. It's like
they're judged as well because of social media.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
they can see like the beautiful supermodel ladies and like they're like, I don't look like that, but it's like you're 12 years old.
Like,
that lady is 40.
It's like you gotta be a kid.
You're not even halfway, when it comes to like brain development. It's like we're just absorbing and learning. And it's like what you were saying, Connor, that is really important. Definitely is with like feeling okay with sharing how you're really feeling.
Definitely,
Like that
it's
really
hard.
is hard.
It's hard.
That's real work.
Because it's like if I put my real self out there, am I gonna be judged?
Yeah.
Like, is someone gonna be like, "What the hell is wrong with you? Why are you thinking like that?" If I say I'm really depressed and I got this isn't happening, but it's like if I say I'm really depressed and I'm having suicidal thoughts, what's this person gonna do? Are they gonna try and be there for me? Or are they going to judge me? Are they going to start freaking out? There's like, you need help now.
Weird. You're going to be super uncool.
Yeah.
And like, none of your friends will like you because you admitted that to them.
Yeah,
it's
that's
like
those are the thoughts.
It's like, I mean, what kind of person would it take to have like their friend come up to them and tell them that they're like seriously considering suicide because they're like that uncomfortable with themselves, and be like,
just like completely
because it's the mind playing tricks on you. It's the mind making up all this stupid shit that's not
it's
real.
Like, what the hell is with human beings?
Yeah.
It's like, because it's very human. It's not like a, you know,
just like self-awareness, like the ability to realize like how vulnerable you really are. Like I was actually talking about this with my mom the other actually it might have been this morning, that like no other animal on earth is really like self-aware in the way that humans are. Like even like the most intelligent animals on earth aren't self-aware in the sense that like they worry about what other animals will think about them. And like if dogs were self-aware, I'd like take my dog to the park and he would start acting cool. Like he would start acting like he's like
with shades on.
Like he'd act like he doesn't notice the people walking around him and then when he's home, he'd act completely different. It's just very strange that people feel the need to care so much about what other people
and that's what it is. I think is being conscious about being self-aware is what brings that on. Because if we're self-aware, we're aware of our terrible faults, you know, and like what we've done wrong. But we're also
there's a lot of people who aren't self-aware though.
There's it's a spectrum, definitely. Like there's a lot of, you know, look at that kid who went to the hate group. Like he's just like, he was just brainwashed virtually. You know, he's like join this hate group. So it's like working on being self-aware and remembering that you can take value from anything.
Yeah, seriously. Anything. You can gain from anything.
Yeah.
And you can if you do something bad, you can be like accepting that you did something bad and owning up to it. You're obviously going to take from that, but it's a matter of actually being like, I can take something from this situation.
Yeah, and accepting it. Because that's painful initially.
It sucks.
That's like the worst initial pain. It's like admitting that you're wrong.
Yeah.
But then afterwards the weight lifts.
Yeah,
and
seriously.
You can live life a little happier.
Yeah, because it's stuff you're holding on to. Like, if you're holding on to literally anything, it's a weight. Like, if someone hurts you and you're mad at them for years, every time you hear their name, you feel this thing inside you. You're constantly holding on to it, and forgiveness is really hard, and you can't just be like, all right, I forgive you, and then that's it. It takes time. But you also have to accept that you can get over it and know that you can get over it and you can forgive. Yeah. Or else you're just going to hold on to it forever.
Because that energy does not disappear.
No.
I've tried. It's if you hold back or are scared and running away just never works. It literally makes it 10 times worse. Yeah. But I'm gonna call it. It's been a crisp hour.
This is a bloodbath.
I'm calling it. Anyone who gets that reference is a real beneath the surface veteran.
This is a bloodbath.
Someone's actually viewing.
All right, it's The Office. But no, this was awesome, guys. Thank you
Thanks for having me, Al.
Of course, Keir and Con.
Thanks.
I've called Keir.
You've called me Con twice on this, but never in real life.
I think it's because I've actually called Keiran Keir before, but only because he's called me Al. And then
I don't think I ever called you Al.
All right, well, thank you guys for watching Beneath the Surface podcast, and you're amazing because you're here. And
go to sleep, drink water.
Comment sheep if you're still here.
Comment sheep. All right, I'll see you guys.